Hey YouTube, Dread Joker here again, and today we're going to be looking at probably my favorite mess around kit. This is the 1/60th big scale strike. This is technically, by modern definition, a non-grade. Any store you check will most likely list this as a high grade 1/60th. I actually can agree with this. This feels like a high grade. It feels like an old high grade, but it feels like a good high grade. This is just the basic version. There are two versions of this on the market. There is the basic version, and then there is the Striker Weapon System one, which comes with all the goodies. For those of you wondering, hey, can I just get the Striker Weapon System and avoid spending the $100-some that the new equipment's going to cost for my perfect grade? The answer is no. This is not even close to the same scale as the perfect grade in some areas. These locks on the shoulders don't move, and they are far too narrow. It's also about maybe 2 or 3 centimeters shorter than the perfect grade, so this is a bit of a weird one. It's claiming to be 1/60th scale, and yet it's not. So moving right in, we have a few stickers on this. You got your standard affair. You got the eyes, you got the main camera, and you have the rear camera. Some of the detailing here is really easy to get in, and other sections it is not. The black vents on either side of the head here, you have to line yourself. What I did was I just took my inking pen, I went in there and I painted all that in with the ink, and then I took a Q-tip and I wiped off the excess after I let it dry a little bit, cleaned it all up, no problem. I did this for the majority of this kit. If you're not a big fan of seam lines, unfortunately you do have one running right there along the side of the head. Not a lot you can do about that, but the majority of this is very good. This thing is so solid that today when I was moving it to location for recording, I just chucked it in my bag and nothing happened. This thing is solid. This thing could probably weather a few storms. That's how solid this is. I don't think I will ever have to tighten any joints on this. Backing the camera out, let's get a good view as to how far up this goes. This is a very large kit. How large is it? Well, I'm gonna bring in the high grade strike and I'm gonna slowly move the camera down, and we'll see when you notice it. It's not even knee-high. This is a lot bigger than your high grade. That being said, all the detail you see that isn't a black line, and I'm going to have to point these out because this bit up here in the shoulders you have to do yourself. This is here for you. There are gaps in this armor everywhere that let the actual detail through. Inking pen, inking pen, inking, there, inking. I want to say this was inking, but I need to bring it in closer so I can actually see it. I want to say I did this detail, but I also don't want to be wrong. So, yeah, that was this you have to do yourself. All the detailing in here is a separate piece you actually put up through the underside of the skirt. The skirt is individually separated here. You don't have to do any cutting. That's the good news. Color accuracy on this is actually extremely well for a kit that was barely out of 2005, I believe. Grab the panel, bring that back down, and as big as this thing is, you would think that it would just be a solid rock. Well, you're only partially right. This thing is solid as a rock, but it also is a high grade that with some negotiation and bargaining, you can get the fully opening cockpit opened. And as soon as I find a tool to help me pry it out, let's just use a... Do not try this at home, kids. tool I used to help build my set. There we go. There is a scale pilot figure in here. I did try my hand at painting it, and my thinner is very bad. Because, yeah, it's not wanting to cooperate. I painted it, but I painted it so poorly that all the detail was lost. I was just trying to put on the stripes for his regular pilot suit, and I should have clearly been going with Moo's pilot suit, because now he looks like that. Nice detailing, though, for something I'm never going to show, though. This is like the one and only time I will ever show this off, and to get it closed, you just close that panel, rotate the front back, slide it back up, until you hear a pop. And that's the cockpit that all, like, the non-grades for the 1/60th scale are really good. To my knowledge, there are only a few on the market. There's the Strike, the Striker weapon system, the Force Impulse, which is a weird one, the Freedom Gundam, which, stupidly enough, and this is what I don't understand, Bandai, you gave us a perfect grade Strike Freedom, you gave us a perfect grade Strike, a Strike Rouge, the Sky Grasper. You're basically beating Seed to death with a stick here. Why did you skip the Freedom Gundam? I know you skipped the rest of the X line, and you skipped Justice. Those I can understand. That's a lot of retooling and remolding and new plastic and stuff like that, but why did you skip the Freedom? Moving on to articulation, the shoulders, and unlike the actual high grade that this was clearly an upscale of, they re-engineered this from the ground up. The opening cockpit should have told you that. Shoulders can actually move forward on this one like the new high grade. Arms can go out very far, just like on the new high grade. Elbows. This is where we start getting a little dated. Elbows are 90 degrees. Perfectly fine by me. This thing moves is about as clunky as it was in episode 1 of Gundam Seed, so hey, it works. Well, actually, I'm sorry, episode 2. Episode 1, it was just Sand waking up. You got an actual fully articulated hand here, somewhat. You have the ball joint at the base of the hand, then the joint at the finger here. Everything else is static. So you can actually get some decent poses, but getting a good fist is a little tricky. And yes, I meant it for it to sound like that. Inside each of the palms, you do have this tab. This is for the weapons, and I'm going to mention this when I get to the beam rifle, because my copy will likely no longer ever be able to hold its beam rifle after what happened. This one is also so big that the Schneider boxes, or knife holders, actually open. There are dedicated tabs here that you can pull, and the Schneiders are in there. There are 3 pieces. You have the 2 sections of the handle and the blade. You can open these up, put these in the hands, and it holds these very well. That's what I can say. This thing holds its accessories when all the parts line up very well. The beam rifle, however, and remember, I'm mentioning this tab, so let's just jump to the beam rifle. The beam rifle has this flip-out tab section. You might notice a little discoloration on mine. That is about 5 layers of glue. I have broken this thing 5 different times. I've repaired it. I'm getting to the point where I'm going to take this pin out, take it out to my workbench, and melt it back together via soldering iron. It does work. Maybe not as well as I think it will, but it likely will work. Doing a quick detail on the beam rifle, it is a very nice beam rifle. It's not nearly as detailed as the perfect grades, but this kit I picked up for about $38, give or take after tax. Very good quality for $38. For the rifle, you got the moving handle, and that's it. moving handle, moving peg back here, but with all the glue, it's likely stuck. You also have a clear part up here in the scope. It should be colored. It is not. But small loss. To put the Schneiders away, you just stick them back in the box and close it up. Skirting can move out and rotate ever so slightly. There is absolutely no movement on the back skirting, so keep that in mind. And we're going to have to back out and slide down so I can focus on the knees and the feet. Lock this in place, loosen this up, turn down. So the knees can bend a max bend of 90 degrees. So it does get a kneeling pose. And it can do this very well because the ankles are very good on this kit. You can move all the armor back and you can get it into a kneeling pose. And it is perfectly balanced like this. This also gives me a chance to show off the amazing detail on the bottom of the feet. This comes gray. You just have to line this. Just line everything, you're good. And as you saw, you have nice ball joints here at the ankles, so you get a really deep ankle bend going in for going as big as this kit is. And especially given how, how little it costs when you... Like, most people, when you say, this is 1/60th scale, they're thinking, okay, how many zeros did it have? In this case, none. It only had 2 digits. But this armor here on the knees, like, you'd think, like, oh, hey, there might be stickers, might have to paint that. Nope, this is just a hollow armor segment, and let's get it off this knee first. Just slides over everything, so all this is you just sandwich together, then you piece this on, put these on. It's pretty heavy on the poly caps in some areas, but you know what? It works. This kit is solid as a freaking rock. Proving the point on how solid it is, I need to bring this up so I can do the shake test. And if I remember to lock the tripod, it'll work. Now that I've given Kira the worst case of vertigo he has ever had, you will have noticed nothing fell. Absolutely nothing fell. That's how solid this is. I shook its brains out and nothing fell. Nothing even opened. The Schneider boxes are closed. The cockpit is fine. Its V-fin is still connected. The only thing that moved was the hips. Because these are ball jointed. That is the one negative that some people are going to have with this. Like, oh, it's a non-grade. It's all crappy. Yeah, well, guess what? It's cheap. It's fun. And, frankly, it has some pretty decent accessories. Are they the best accessories around? No, far from it. But you've already seen the knife and rifle, so let's bring in the shield. And holy crap, this is big! This thing is so big that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 poly caps in it. And these are the worst ones right here. These like to come out, so you're going to have to glue this section down. I believe I already did. Then you have some kind of weird residue on the thing that looks like you fried an egg on it. I don't know what that was. But yeah, a fair bit of lining you can do on this shield. It looks really good when you do line it. No clear part here, but everything does rotate. And there is one reason to buy this if you are looking to get the Striker Weapons package. It's because the Striker Weapons package only gives you one of these, and this is the same adapter you use for both the shield and the Sword Striker unit. So if you're going to do a perfect strike and you want it to have its shield, you can't. You either have to have the shield or the grapple claw. That's it. And I don't know what the grapple claw is called, so I just call it the grapple claw. To attach this, you just simply take the peg, stick it into the back of the arm. Right now, the articulation's fine. Adding this does nothing, does not compromise balance in any way. The shield, however, is very wide up here. And when you bring it into the arm, number one, you can have it displayed forward if you want to. You can put it up here on the arm, but you have to rotate everything forward, make sure everything's all lined up perfectly. And then it looks all right forward. But you're never going to get this arm fully down. This part collides so badly with all the stuff in here. It just does not want to lower. That being said, you can mount the entire shield to the back of the arm. Rotate the wrist. These are on ball sockets, by the way, so you might be able to use these in a perfect grade. I have not tried. I don't really feel like I want to either, because the perfect grades all generally have their own hands that are a little better than this. But get this all in, and now you could have a better blocking pose, but the shield is heavier than the shoulder joint can support. But doing this, you can have the arm completely backwards and flush with the body if you so desire. Now, we'll try and negotiate with the rifle, because, as I said, mine will no longer hold this because I've busted this tab. Let's get this out a little bit. And in case you're wondering, yes, this can do the signature pose that the Strike Gundam was known for doing in Gundam Seed. There is, however, no action base that is big enough for this. Even the action base that comes with the Sky Grasper, the perfect grade, is not compatible with this. It is way too big. Okay, so I negotiated with him, and he can hold his rifle. I think a stray atom might knock it out of there, but hey, what are you going to do? So this has been the review of the 160th no-grade Strike Gundam. My overall answer for this is, if anybody's willing to pick this up and try it, my recommendation is go for it. This gets a massive recommendation from me. This is one of the most fun kits I have. I leave this thing out just so I can futz around with a Strike Gundam without having to worry about if I'm going to break it or not. That's how solid this is. It doesn't need tightening. It took maybe 2 hours to assemble and probably 40 minutes to line. It's a very quick build. Cleanup is, depending on build level or build skill, cleanup can be either really difficult or really complicated. It's fun, it's easy, it's cheap, and for the size, it's very cheap. 1/60th kits generally nowadays start at $50 and only go up for there. The Psycho Gundam's $50, the Kshatriya, which is, well, a high grade, but at the same time, that one's also closer to the size of a master grade. The Kshatriya is the weird exception. That one's $50. The Narrative Apex is $50. There's a lot of large $50 kits, and this one decided to break all the rules by being extremely large and being under 40. So if you can pick this up for under 40, yes, go for it. This is perfect. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, etc., please leave them down in the comments section below. I'll be more than happy to read them, get back to you when I can, and thank you very much for watching.